Saturday afternoon, you know what that means, folks. Today, we are making yet another 1 year later video going over prospects taken in the 2022 NHL Draft and talking about how they've impressed since then. Today, we are continuing our trend of talking about guys who weren't necessarily first-round picks. Last time, we made a video talking about Montreal Canadiens second-round pick Owen Beck. Today, we're going even further down the pipeline and talking about a Red Wings prospect who happened to be an overager in the 2022 draft. Today, we're talking about one of the more ambitious and surprising pickups that has shown off really well since the draft. We're talking today about Amadeus Lombardi. Now, Lombardi is a name whom I think a lot of Red Wings fans have sort of been tossing around loosely as one of these underrated prospects the team has. We made a video already earlier in this season, actually, talking about, or not this season, but the previous season, 2023-2024 is the current season now. But Amadeus Lombardi is a guy whom we have talked about before. We made a video talking about how he was initially drafted by the Wings back in 2022, but back when we made this video, I don't think anybody was expecting him to explode offensively in the ways that he did. Amadeus Lombardi is born in 2003, June 5th, which meant that he was first eligible for the 2021 NHL Draft. Of course, though, he wasn't taken then. He's 20 years old, 5'10", 165 as a left-handed center, so he's a little bit on the smaller side, but he has shown off so well ever since being a 2022 fourth-round pick by the Wings that he actually does have his ELC already signed. This is a player who, back in his draft-eligible year, so 2020-2021, had 0 points in 0 games played with the Flint Firebirds. He wasn't drafted because he didn't play, and there wasn't enough of a resume from his OJHL stint or the Greater Toronto Hockey League stint he had in lower levels of play to warrant a draft pick after sitting out the entire OHL season because the league didn't operate. That's okay. Not his fault. But when Lombardi made his debut with the Firebirds the next season, he posted up 59 points in 67 games played, 18 goals, 41 assists, and he was a point-per-game guy in the playoffs. Definitely not bad for a draft-plus-1 aged player, but you could understand that the draft year he had with 0 games played definitely took a toll on his development and progression. Nevertheless, this is a guy whom the Elite Prospects folks wrote this about. Lombardi's game is one of speed and skill. As he races defenders along the perimeter, he looks for teammates on the inside. He connects with backhand and forehand passes under or over defender sticks without much windup. If a pass is not an option, he beats defenders with a combination of handling skill and well-conceived setups. He puts the puck into a defender's space, waits for the poke, then chips the puck under their stick or pulls it around. And he's confident making these plays off the backhand and under heavy pressure. Lombardi, based off of this scouting report, is a very tricky and very sneaky offensively minded forward who's got some good speed and who's not afraid to make a fool out of whomever it is who's trying to defend him. Lombardi had a really interesting playmaking profile in his game in 21-22, and it's why he was actually ranked to go somewhere in the draft. I mean, McKeen's had him at number 202. He was the 94th ranked North American skater by NHL Central Scouting. So going at 113, fourth round guy, overage pick, not the biggest deal in the world. Obviously, you could understand that at this point in the draft, past round 2, you kind of just take whomever it is that you like. And the Red Wings decided to do that because Lombardi was good in their eyes. You also had yourselves the fantasy summary about Lombardi from the Dalibor Prospects report. Dynamic top 6 center with a very high offensive ceiling. His skating and speed are his best attributes that will help carry him to the NHL, but the way he processes the game makes one think that he could be the steal of the 22 draft. And boy oh boy, you talk about steals, eh? It's rare to see a fourth-round, overage draft pick get his ELC a year after getting drafted. But that's exactly what happened here, as Amadeus Lombardi, in his first season after being named to the Red Wings organization, had 102 points in 67 OHL games, 45 goals as well. This was a big explosion of offensive talent as you started to see more goals complementing his maintained playmaking ability. This is the Dobber report from May 2023 for Lombardi. Every NHL GM loves to hear these two words, speed and skill. When the Red Wings selected 113th overall in the 2022 draft, they got just that. Lombardi is a dynamic center, and his offensive upside has Wings scouts drooling. What will endear him to Steve Yzerman and his staff is his two-way play, though. His defensive game allows for him to be trusted in all situations on the ice. While he still has OHL eligibility, he did get in 2 games for the Griffins this previous season, producing 1 assist in 2 games. Evan Sabarin, the writer, consistently hears comparisons to former Wings forward Andreas Athanasiou, and while there are some similarities, I see a much higher offensive upside. He signed his ELC with the Wings in December and will probably need a season or 2 in Grand Rapids before he gets the call up. The 20-year-old is definitely worth a stash in dynasty leagues. Amadeus Lombardi had a really great season after being drafted, and if he's anywhere near what it was that Andreas Athanasiou was for the Detroit Red Wings, then I think that's an absolute huge steal for a second-year draft-eligible guy taken in the 4th round. You gotta remember, for Athanasiou, he was also a Red Wings 4th-round pick, 110th overall, whereas Lombardi was 113th. The difference, though, is that Andreas Athanasiou was not taken in his draft plus 1 year. He was drafted normally as a regular 18-year-old in the 2012 draft. So a little bit different circumstances there, but it's okay, totally fine. You can understand that Athanasiou had his heyday with the Wings. He was a 30-goal guy. At some point, he then found himself on the Kings and then the Blackhawks. He's still there to this day. Athanasiou was a speedy forward. However, there were a few problems that sort of plagued his game as he got a bigger and better role with the Wings, and as his time went on, you could really start to see the unreliability in his game, especially after a few injuries that hurt him as well. Another difference here is the size, because Andreas Athanasiou, we all kind of remember, 6'2", 190, a bigger dude, a much more solid frame than Lombardi. Now, Lombardi is small, but he is quick and speedy, so that's a different element that Athanasiou didn't really have, that slipperiness. You know, Lombardi is not really heavy, he's only 165, so while it may be a little bit easier to shove him off the puck, the fact is, he's so light that I wouldn't be surprised if he was able to traverse around the pro game, just kind of slipping and sliding and avoiding checks and just using his small frame to slip through open spaces on the ice. It's a very unique type of profile where he is so small, but he is also pretty speedy. But combined with the offensive skill, I mean, this is a guy that could become a very solid steal in the 4th round. Should he max out as a top 6 center in the NHL, that would be the ultimate redemption prize. For now, we just gotta wait and see what he does in Grand Rapids. If they send him back to the OHL, okay, that's cool too, but I mean, last season, the guy had 1 assist in his Grand Rapids stint, so I definitely don't think it's needed for him to go back to the OHL, especially since, I mean, he already had a 100-point year. He was so good with the Flint Firebirds, so overall, I mean, Lombardi is a very good player. We'll see what he does next season as he grows as a Red Wings prospect. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think about this idea that the Red Wings, with their 4th round pick in 2022, drafted themselves the next Andreas Athanasiou? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.